For the majority of mortals, time is a succession of fractures, a relentless ticking that carves the present into small, noisy, finite pieces. But today, before us, two visions of the universe unfold, challenging that logic. Imagine two manifestos clashing in just 40 millimeters of steel, titanium, and crystal. One moves with a fluidity that's almost supernatural. Its time transformed into a silken river that knows no friction, no impact, no interruption. The other is so lethally precise that it affords itself the luxury of being off by just 1 second, while the Earth completes a full orbit around the Sun. They are not merely watches, but two distinct ways to understand our very existence. On one hand, the grand Seiko spring drive, the Japanese obsession with capturing the mechanical soul of the cosmos. On the other, the Citizen Calibre 0100, the pursuit of divinity through absolute mathematical perfection. Today, we're not here to talk about luxury or marketing or jewelry. Today, we're here to answer the question that keeps purists awake at night. What really is a superior movement? Is it the one that emulates the flow of nature, or the one that has the courage to correct it? The anatomy of what is truly best. Before choosing a side, we must destroy a lie. The idea that a better watch is simply the one that tells the exact time. If precision were the only criterion, the smartphone you carry in your pocket would have killed high watchmaking decades ago. At this level of mastery, the concept of better is three-dimensional. It's a precarious balance between three fundamental pillars. First, technical complexity. It's not just about the sheer number of parts, but how many laws of physics had to be bent for the mechanism to properly function. Second, the emotional experience. It's that shiver you feel when you glance at your wrist, alone, and realize what you're wearing has a heartbeat of its own. And third, the philosophy. What your watch says about you. Are you someone who seeks absolute order in a chaotic world? Or someone who prefers the romantic harmony of the analog? Japan has presented us with two opposing answers. One is born from fire, friction, and the turning of gears. The other, from the invisible vibration of a quartz crystal cut with atomic precision. One wants to be man's eternal companion, the other, time's relentless judge. Spring drive, the silence of eternity. To understand spring drive, it's not enough to speak of gears, regulators, or quartz crystals. To truly understand it, you must understand a dream. A dream that began in 1977 when a Japanese engineer named Yoshikazu Akahane asked a question that at the time seemed absurd even within Seiko. What if a watch could have the vital force of a mechanical movement, but the inhuman precision of quartz? At that time, the world of watchmaking was divided into two irreconcilable factions. On one side, the mechanical tradition, imperfect but full of life. On the other, quartz, precise and exact, but without a soul. Akahane didn't want to choose. He wanted to fuse them together. What came next was not a path to success, but one of sheer perseverance. Over 600 prototypes, decades filled with errors, 28 years of failures, microscopic adjustments, discarded parts, and silent nights. Any other idea would have been abandoned, but this one was not. Because spring drive isn't born from commercial logic, it comes from the Japanese obsession with perfection, an impossible alchemy. The spring drive is an anomaly within modern watchmaking. It's not an advanced quartz movement, nor is it a modified mechanical one. It's something that doesn't fit into any known category. The energy is born as it always has been for centuries, from a hand-wound mainspring, accumulating power in a physical, tangible, almost primitive way. But here's where the fundamental break occurs. That energy isn't released through a traditional escapement. No escapement striking a wheel, no intermittent impulses, no violent friction. Instead, everything is governed by the tri-synchro regulator, a system as elegant as it is perplexing. Three energies working together. Mechanical energy, electromagnetic energy. Visualize a wheel that is spinning, without being touched. There is no contact, no collision, only pure rotation. As it turns, this wheel generates a very small electric current, almost imperceptible, but enough to awaken a quartz crystal and an electronic circuit. That circuit moves nothing. It doesn't push or command, it merely observes. And when it senses time trying to speed up or slow down, it applies an invisible, gentle, almost respectful magnetic brake. It doesn't correct time abruptly, it whispers it into place, the only honest second hand in the world. That's why the spring drive's second hand is different from everything else. It doesn't jump 8 times per second like a Swiss automatic. It doesn't make a sharp, distinct jump every second like a quartz timepiece. It doesn't tremble, it doesn't waver or hesitate, it simply glides. It is a continuous, hypnotic, almost unsettling movement because we are simply not accustomed to witnessing it. It's the only watch that doesn't portray time as a succession of moments, but as what it truly is, a constant, unstoppable flow. Looking at a spring drive is like looking at a river. You can't pinpoint where 1 second begins and another ends. It simply flows. That's why many say spring drive doesn't mark time, it accompanies it. Precision, yes, but that's not what's important. Its precision is truly impressive for a watch that's powered by a mechanical mainspring, roughly around plus or minus 15 seconds per month. But here's the crucial key that many people just don't seem to grasp. The spring drive doesn't aim to win a precision contest, nor humiliate quartz, nor be the most accurate. It wants to be the most coherent. Coherent between tradition and technology, coherent between emotion and science, coherent between past and future. Every spring drive continues to be assembled, adjusted, and finished by human hands. Each one retains its own microscopic imperfections, which truly make it unique. Because for Seiko, perfection isn't about eliminating the very soul, but rather mastering it completely. Silence, as a profound form of respect, and this is precisely where its greatest triumph truly lies. The spring drive makes absolutely no sound. It doesn't tick, it never interrupts. It's a machine that understands that time doesn't need to be forced, only guided. While other watches fight against time, the spring drive walks by its side. That's why many call it cold, others call it magical, but those who truly understand it call it by its real name, the silence of eternity. Citizen Calibre 0100, the mastery of time. While the spring drive emerges from an almost spiritual obsession to accompany time, the Citizen Calibre 0100 stems from a radically different ambition, to truly master it. There is no poetry here, no romantic concessions, no intention whatsoever to stir emotion when you watch the second hand. There's just one brutal, almost awkward question here. What if we designed a watch whose sole purpose was to measure time better than any other wristwatch ever created? The answer was Calibre 0100. Precision as dogma. In watchmaking, precision has always been an ideal, but almost never an absolute reality. Even the best Swiss chronometers accept error as part of the game. Time, after all, always seems to slip away. Citizen decided not to accept it. Calibre 0100 was conceived as a technological manifesto, a demonstration of silent power from Citizen, a brand that for decades has preferred to innovate in its labs rather than in storefronts. Their objective wasn't to compete with mechanical watches, but to surpass them all in the only area where there's no possible interpretation, the numbers. 1 second per year, not per month, not per week, per year. To put this in perspective, a good standard quartz watch can deviate plus or minus 15 seconds per month. A high-end mechanical chronometer can drift by several seconds over the course of a day. The Calibre 0100 can go for 12 entire months without you ever needing to think about it. It's not a timepiece you constantly have to set, it's one you simply put on and then forget about. The heart of the monster, autocat quartz. The key to this almost absurd precision lies in its autocat quartz crystal, a variant commonly employed in scientific instrumentation, telecommunications, and systems where error is simply not an option. Unlike conventional quartz, this particular type of crystal vibrates at a much higher frequency. It is also extremely stable, even when facing significant temperature changes. It significantly reduces the need for constant adjustments. The movement doesn't struggle against its environment. It's specifically designed to ignore it. The heat, the cold, everyday wear and tear, the relentless passage of time, all of those factors simply cease to be relevant. Eco-drive, perpetual energy, completely free from any rituals. And here, Citizen truly does something profoundly consistent with its core philosophy. Such a movement could not depend on a battery that runs out. It could not demand constant maintenance. It could not introduce a human weakness into an almost perfect machine. That's why Calibre 0100 uses Eco-drive, a solar charging system capable of operating for decades without any intervention. Light converts into energy. Energy is transformed into stability. Stability then becomes precision. There is no charging ritual, no power reserve that needs monitoring, no emotional attachment to the power source, only pure continuity. The second hand that never seeks attention. And then you look at the second hand. It simply does what it's meant to do. A clean, precise, and very cold leap. There's no spectacle, no dance, no poetic silence at all. And that is intentional. The Calibre 0100 doesn't want you to observe it. It wants you to place your trust in it. It's the kind of watch an engineer would choose so they'd never have to think about the time again. The kind of watch you would wear if time were a critical variable, not merely an emotion. The Citizen paradox. And here a truly fascinating paradox emerges. Citizen has likely created the most precise movement ever put into a wristwatch. And yet, they don't boast about it, don't mass-produce it, don't make it a trend, don't market it as a status symbol, because Calibre 0100 isn't an aspirational product, it's a technical statement. It's Citizen telling the world, if we truly desired, we could measure time better than anyone. And then, simply returning to silence. When perfection no longer holds any thrill. And this is the critical point of our comparison. The Calibre 0100 is perfect, but absolute perfection always comes at a price. It doesn't invite you to look at the watch, it doesn't make you reflect upon time, it doesn't create an emotional bond. It is like a laboratory instrument upon your wrist. Impeccable, beyond reproach, and quite distant. And for some, that's exactly what they are looking for. But for others, it's precisely what they are missing. The clash of giants. Let's pit them against each other without mercy. When it comes to pure precision, the Citizen not only wins but utterly humiliates the Grand Seiko. The spring drive doesn't even manage to reach the final round. It's like comparing the ballistics of a simple handmade arrow with a military-grade laser. If your life depended on the precise timing of just 1 second over 12 months, you would choose the Citizen without batting an eye. But in technical architecture, the balance shifts direction. The spring drive is a feat of hybrid microengineering that feels alive. There's something mystical in seeing how mechanical energy converts into electricity to then control its very own mechanics. The Citizen, no matter how advanced it might be, is truly an electronic masterpiece. It is impeccable, certainly, but it is cold. It is a perfect machine that does its work in silence without you ever noticing it's there. The Citizen is the end of the road. There's nothing more precise a man could ever wear upon his wrist. The spring drive, by contrast, is the bridge between two distinct worlds: the warmth of the artisanal past and the intelligence of the electronic future. Why is it that we love imperfection? We then arrive at the great paradox. If the Citizen is objectively superior in its fundamental function of measuring time, then why does the world of high-end watchmaking continue to yearn for a spring drive movement? The true answer to this question is something profoundly human. You see, watches do not exist merely to measure the passage of time. They exist rather to represent it in a tangible way. The Citizen 0100, for example, would be the perfect instrument for an advanced artificial intelligence or for an intrepid explorer venturing into the farthest confines of space. It is the ultimate efficiency. But the spring drive resonates with our own finitude. We are biological beings that flow towards an inevitable end. To observe the sweeping second hand of a Grand Seiko is a form of meditation. It gently reminds us that life isn't made of loud, jarring tick-tocks, but of a smooth, continuous glide. The Citizen, on the other hand, provides us with absolute precision. The Grand Seiko truly offers us meaning. One represents science in its most solid form. The other embodies pure poetry in motion. My personal take? It's definitely the Snow King. Now, at this very moment, many of you will surely ask me, if you absolutely had to choose just one, which would be your ultimate choice? Wow, just wow. And this is where technical analysis finally gives way to the heart. Although I deeply respect Citizen's incredible achievement, if I have to choose a companion for life, I'll definitely stick with the spring drive, but not just any model. My personal choice, my favorite watch above almost any other, is the Grand Seiko Snowflake SBGA 211. There is something about the Snowflake that truly transcends watchmaking. Its high-intensity titanium case, light as a feather, yet tough as steel, is simply the housing for one of the most beautiful dials ever created. That texture, inspired by the freshly fallen snow on the mountains of Shiojiri, seems to capture the light in a way that no other timepiece can truly imitate. Watching the blued second hand gracefully gliding across that immaculate white dial is, for me, the very definition of peace. It's not just a precise timekeeping instrument. It's a piece of the Japanese winter, beautifully trapped within a titanium case. The Snowflake doesn't just tell me the time, it gives me a moment of calm every time I look at it. That's why the spring drive will always be my personal winner. The verdict. So, which one is better for you? If you're seeking the pinnacle of applied science, if you want to wear on your wrist the purest definition of a second humanity has ever bottled, the Citizen Calibre 0100 is your watch. It's a historic milestone that closes the debate on precision forever. But if you're looking for time to speak to you, if you wish to feel the heartbeat of hundreds of parts working in perfect harmony to create a fluid and eternal motion, if you seek an object with a true soul, the spring drive is truly unrivaled. One represents the world's most brilliant mind. The other, the industry's noblest heart. And the best part of this battle is that it doesn't require an absolute winner, because both have succeeded in making us look at our wrist and feel a sense of wonder once more. Now, the final question is for you to consider. If you had to leave behind a single legacy that truly represents who you were, would you choose the cold, eternal exactness of crystal? Or would you prefer the silent living glide of snow over titanium? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'll be reading them. And if you've enjoyed this journey into precision, please subscribe, because time truly flies. But here, we always try to capture it.